Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hello?
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama.
What? Okay. Hang on a second, guys. Hare Krishna. I don't know why this page came on all of a sudden.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
This is just sabotage. Maharaj, I apologize. I don't know what's going on, why this came on, but I'll try to fix it.
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama.
It looks like some sort of interference. I don't know where that came from. Please bear with me. Please bear with me, Maharaj. I have no idea. I was just going to start you off, and then this screen came on for no reason at all. So I don't get it. I'm just going to start. I have to pull up the screen again.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Do the needful.
Adi Lila. 5, 6, 4.
Sri Devi, what time is it there?
It's 4 a.m. in the morning, Guru Maharaj.
Bear with me. I have to pull it up. I just have to share. No, that's all.
I'm sorry?
Wonderful.
Oh, it's wonderful for me, Guru Maharaj.
Okay. So we're good now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead and announce the program.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I apologize for the H. This morning, we're fortunate to have His Holiness Candramauli Swami to give a class on Chaitanya Charitamrita. The text is Adi Lila, chapter 5, text 40. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrindam Se para-vyome nārāyaṇera pāśe dvārakā-catur-vyūhera dvitīya prakāśe. In that spiritual sky, on the four sides of Narayan, are the second expansions of the quadruple expansions of Dvāraka. Purport. Within the spiritual sky is a second manifestation of the quadruple forms of Dvāraka from the abode of Krishna. Among these forms, which are all spiritual and immune to material modes, Sri Baladev is represented as Mahasankarshan. The activities in the spiritual sky are manifested by the internal potency in pure spiritual existence. They expand in 6 transcendental opulences, which are all manifestations of Mahasankarshan, who is the ultimate reservoir and objective of all living entities. Although belonging to the marginal potency known as Jiva Shakti, the spiritual sparks known as the living entities are subjected to the conditions of material energy. It is because these sparks are related with both the internal and external potency of the Lord that they are known as belonging to the marginal potency. In considering the quadruple forms of the absolute personality of Godhead, known as Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha, the impersonalists, headed by Shripad Sankarshan, have interpreted the aphorisms of the Vedic Sutra in a way suitable for the impersonal school. To provide the intrinsic import of such aphorisms, however, Srila Rupa Goswami, the leader of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, has properly replied to the impersonalists in his Laghu Bhagavatamrita, which is a natural commentary on the aphorisms of the Vedanta Sutra. The Padma Purana, as quoted by Srila Rupa Goswami in his Laghu Bhagavatamrita, describes that in the spiritual sky there are 4 directions corresponding to east, west, north, and south, in which Vasudeva, Sankarsana, Aniruddha, and Pradyumna are situated. The same forms are also situated in the material sky. The Padma Purana also describes a place in the spiritual sky known as Vedavati Pura, where Vasudeva resides. In Vishnu Lok, which is above Satyalok, Sankarshan resides. Mahasankarshan is a name of the Sankarshana. Pradyumna lives in Dvārakapura, and Aniruddha lies on the eternal bed of Sesha, known as the Anantasai, on the island called Svetadweep in the ocean of milk. Omagyantimidandasya Ganajana Salakaya Chaksun Mulitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimakte Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavari Paschatya Satarine Vanchakalpatarubhischa Kripa Sindhupe Vachapatitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasari Gaur Bhaktarindam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So here is some spiritual technology. The arrangement of the manifestation of the Godhead known as Catur-vyūhera, the 4 aspects of the Vaikuntha realm, Vasudeva, who is Nārayaṇa, Sankarshana, who is Baladev, or you might say the manifestation of that form of the Lord which brings about the creation. Aniruddha and Pradyumna are also manifestations. Of course, Aniruddha is the manifestation of Kshirodaksai Vishnu, and Pradyumna is the manifestation of Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. So these different manifestations of the Lord appear in different forms and are under different names according to the manifestations where they appear within the spiritual realm. But also it says they also appear in the material realm also. The planets were named such as Swetadweep. Swetadweep is the Lord's spiritual planet in the material world. On the island of Swetadweep, Kshirodakshayi Vishnu, who is actually Aniruddha, resides. And all the incarnations of the Lord come through Kshirodakshayi Vishnu. They are the gateway for the incarnations to come into the material world through Swetadweep. Swetadweep also is also known as that planet in Swetadweep, or that island is Swetadweep. The planet is actually Dhruvaloka, where Dhruva was granted a planet in the material world, but in that planet, the Lord personally resides in his form of Kshirodakshayi Vishnu. Here it also mentions the living entities who are called the marginal potency. Marginal is an adaptation of a definition that applies according to region and not according to identity. Identity is that the living entities are pure spiritual beings. They have no connection with the material energy at all. But because they fall into the material energy due to a wrong desire, they come in contact with the material energy and take up this definition as being marginal, which means that they are spiritual but locked within the material energy, and that is called the living entities in the material world. But the living entities are pure spiritual. Jivaya Surupaya Krishnera Nityadas. Actually, all living entities are parts and parcels of Krishna. There's no material ingredient within the living entity's existence. But due to falling into the material world, they get locked into this other energy, and they fall into a type of ignorance. That ignorance is they forget their real identity, and they forget their relationship with the Supreme Lord in the spiritual world. Under this forgetfulness, they come covered by another energy called the Maya energy, which continues to fortify that illusion by allowing the living entities to identify themselves with something that is not themselves, and that is this material body. And so, based on this first misidentification, as soon as we think or come under the material energy, think that we are this material body, then we connect to things related to the material body, such as gender, country, nationality, activities, friends, family members, a whole list of identities that come through the illusionary identity of being the material body. And in that field of activities, the living entity is lost to himself, thinking that they can experience their spiritual qualities, which are eternal happiness and eternality of life in this material world. Everyone wants to live eternally. Nobody wants to die. Why? Because the living entities don't die. Our nature is to live eternally, but we are covered by another energy and identify with this illusion, therefore we think we die. Although we don't. Because that which is never born never dies, and that which doesn't die is never reborn again. And in this illusion, the living entities make so many arrangements It's more like a child's play. Sometimes you see children, they want to imitate their adults, so they dress up in a certain way, and they have some toys, and they play like mommy or daddy or something. They imitate something that they're not. So that's what we're doing. We're in this material world. We're imitating something we're not. We want to be the controller, but we're always controlled. We want to live forever, but we are under the illusion we die. So we are always in ignorance. So being in the material world means being in what is called phantasmagoria, or an illusionary dreamlike state of existence, and carrying out activities that are connected with the dream. And this goes on, maya davase, kachobese, life after life after life. And as the living entities continue in this cycle of birth and death, they compound this illusion that becomes greater and deeper in their experiences, which becomes so deep they cannot even understand or even begin to understand who they really are and where they actually belong. So this is the material world, like that. So therefore, Mahasankarshan, who is Baladev, expanded into Mahavishnu, brings the living entities into the material world by their previous karma from the previous lives. So life after life, we take on a different body. And we cannot dictate which body we will get into the next life, even those sometimes who have some understanding that they are not this body, they want to come back in a better body in the next life. And so they make arrangements to do that. But under the karma daiva under the influence of the material energy, they are locked up in this cycle of samsara. And they cannot dictate, they can only desire and try to fulfill that desires, which gives them a certain credit on their karmic scoreboard, which adds up at the end of life. And at that end of life, they get another body according to that scoreboard. Combination of pious, impious, or in-between activities. And therefore, we see throughout the world, there are so many different bodies, 8,400,000 species of bodies. Even within that category, there are 400,000 forms of human lives. Not all human lives are the same. Some are more advanced intelligently, some are less, some are no better than animals, but still they have a human form. Some are as good as demigods, but all are also, they're all 2 arms and 2 legs and 1 head. And they exist in different planets throughout the universes, 400,000 human forms. Even on this planet, you can see a variety of human forms. If you go to certain remote places in the world, you see people who are no better than animals. They live like animals. And they are, and then you see others who are highly intelligent, very developed, have great abilities to do things. So within the category of humans, there are also categories, and these categories are all part of the karmic collection that the living entity acquires due to their desires to enjoy in this material world. But ultimately, the idea is to get out, to get back to our actual identity in relationship to the supreme identity, the source of all identities, which is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Here we are hearing about Nārāyaṇa. Nārāyaṇa is an expansion of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. Ramadi Murti Sukala Niyamena Tishtan Nanavatara Akaro Bhuvaneshu Kinchu Krishna Swayam Samabhava Paramam Pamanyo Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. The Brahma Samhita gives a clear understanding that all of the incarnations, this is also mentioned in Bhagavatam, are simply plenary expansions or expansions of the plenary expansions of the Supreme Lord, who is the original source, and his name is Krishna. Ishwara Parama Krishna, Satchit Ananda Vigraha Nare Radhe Govinda Sarva Karnam. So of all of the manifestations of Godhead, there is an original, Adi Purush, the original personality of Godhead, who is the source of all the manifestations of the forms of Godhead that play different roles throughout the universe and in the material world, and appear in different forms to carry out certain activities for the upliftment of the living entities in the material world, or to keep the structure of the universe working in a certain way. In other words, they're more like ministers or angas of the Supreme Lord, although they also are coming from the Supreme Lord. There are different manifestations. There's 6 categories of incarnations: Guna avatars, Lila avatars, Shaktivesha avatars, Purushottam avatars, Purusha avatars, I meant to say. Purusha avatars, 6 categories of avatars who appear in different forms for different functions, all by the arrangement of the supreme source of all of the avatars, which is Krishna himself. So we get a little insight here of the complexity of the spiritual world, although we cannot understand even a small portion of it, because it's so complex and so beyond the range of material logic and definition. Doesn't fit into any category of logic. It's spiritual logic. Only those who are on the transcendental platform can understand this logic. But those who are perceiving it from using material logic to understand spiritual realms will always be, what we say, remain in ignorance, because they cannot apply the same principles on the spiritual realm. We can only accept it as it's given in the Shastras itself. Now, the spiritual world is 3 times bigger than all of the universes in the material world. And there are millions and billions of universes in the material world. We live in one of these universes. And this, as it's explained in the Shastras, this particular universe by where the Earth planet is situated is one of the smallest of all of the universes. There are universes that are hundreds and thousands of times bigger than the universe we're in, although our universe is 4 billion miles across and 4 billion miles up and down. So, therefore, God's creation is, what we say, phenomenal. It cannot be explained or even measured. So, but the spiritual world is actually 3 times larger than the material world. So you can imagine, no, you can't imagine, you can try to imagine how huge the spiritual world is, with unlimited numbers of planets, unlimited number of manifestations of the Godhead. Krishna, the Supreme Lord, is so great that he manifests himself in so many manifestations, all for his transcendental pleasure and all for the arrangement of the living entities in the material world. And also all of these different planets also have an incarnation of the Lord, which are the Vishnu forms. We call them Narayan forms. They have 4 hands. They have conch, lotus, chakra, and ultimately, Gada, the club.
Disc.
Yeah, the club and the disc, which is the chakra. And these 4 are held in the different hands of in the Vishnu forms in each of the different planets in different manifestations. And this is explained by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he's giving instructions to Sanatana Goswami, which is mentioned in the 20th chapter of Adi Lila. He gets into all of the details of the Vishnu manifestations as much as he can. And then, of course, there's much more than that. But these planets, and each one of these planets has unlimited living entities living on these planets. And all of them are manifested according to their spiritual, what we say, acumen. Just like within the material world, there's different gradations of consciousness. Also, within the realms of the spiritual world, there's also different indications of spiritual consciousness, which might be slightly different from someone else. And therefore, in that differences, the varieties are there to inaugurate or to, what we say, enunciate or to facilitate the different differences. So the spiritual world is highly variegated and very complex, and you get a little. And these forms that are mentioned here, this is the Catur-vyūhera, Vasudeva, which is ultimately Narayan, Sankarshana, which is Baladev, Aniruddha, which is, they manifest themselves in different forms. For instance, I can give you an example, is when Lord Ram came, he came with 3 other brothers. So he was Vasudeva, Lakshman was Sankarshan, Bharat was Pradyumna, and Aniruddha was Satrugna. So the Catur-vyūhera also manifests in personal forms as they descend into the material world to carry out their leelas for the upliftment of the conditioned souls and for the destruction of the ignorance caused by the demons. So this is a great study. It's nice if you can read these books and try to understand them. And there's a lot of cross-references where you can understand things in relationships, just like it's mentioned here, Lagu Bhagavatamrita is really a compilation of many of the points describing things that are being described in other scriptures, but with greater amounts of explanations within detail. So that's Rupa Goswami in his Lagu Bhagavatamrita. I just finished the book about a couple months ago. It's about 500, 600 pages. And it's so interesting that it becomes a feature of reading as much as you can. So yeah, so take time, try to understand all of this, because it's all part of our existence. And it also elevates your consciousness. Transcendental knowledge will also free you from the entanglement of material energy, which is the feature of transcendental knowledge, is that it is liberating. It is above the 3 modes of material energy, and it raises the consciousness into the realm of the spiritual realm, depending on the quality of that focus, either in Vaikuntha or in Goloka Vrindavan, like that. But within each of those realms, there are other realms of existence. Just like in Goloka Vrindavan, there is also a place in Goloka where Lord Chaitanya exists. And there, those who are absorbed in Harinam Sankirtan are with Lord Chaitanya performing kirtan constantly. And there's another realm of Goloka Vrindavan where people have a certain understanding of Krishna as being the Supreme Lord, although they're in the Goloka realm. This is a very not so spoken of aspect of the Goloka realm. And there's a particular pastime that illustrates that. When Nanda Maharaj was captured by Varuna and was taken to the watery depths of Varuna's kingdom, Krishna personally came to rescue his father. When he came, Varuna saw Krishna and he immediately offered his prayers and obeisances to Krishna. When Nanda Maharaj saw that, he understood that although Krishna was his son, he was also the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So based on that pastime, which indicates that there is an aspect of Goloka where certain personalities see Krishna as the Supreme Lord. And that's also manifested in one aspect of the Goloka realm in the spiritual realm also. Okay, these are some things we can think about. This section of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, just like the next verse, I think there's about 6-page purport on the next verse, describing even more details of these 4 aspects: Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. Aniruddha and Pradyumna also appeared in Krishna's Lila as Krishna's son. Actually, Aniruddha was the son of Pradyumna, and Pradyumna was the son of Krishna. So Aniruddha was the grandson of Krishna, like that. So they appear in different forms to carry out different pastimes of the Supreme Lord. So when Krishna was here personally, they appeared in that way. And of course, Balaram is Sankarshan, or you might say Sankarshan is Balaram. Both are eternal. How is eternality understood in terms of manifestations? This is a puzzling question for the philosophers. How can something come from something and still be eternal? I'll leave that with you to think about. Okay, we'll open up for discussions.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. Wonderful, wonderful, in-depth description of the Catur-vyūhera. And you also gave the fact that the next text has so many pages of purport by Srila Prabhupada. I'm going to stop sharing now. Devotees, please turn on your cameras. Maharaj likes to see you in person. It's as close as we get to being personal. If you have any questions, please raise your hand or unmute yourself and go for it. If you have realizations, if you have takeaways that really, really struck you, mentally so much, bring it up also, so we all can have more learning from it. Hare Krishna. Shridevi Mataji, by the way, I made you co-hosts for chanting later on. You can ask a question. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. As we are hearing about this varieties, the variegatedness of the spiritual world, how bewildering it can be, and the different potencies of the Lord, the different incarnations of the Lord, it is so clear that the Lord is a person and all the incarnations are persons. So I'm a little, curious how Shripad Shankaracharya, as mentioned in this purport, is managing to make all these incarnations fit into the impersonalist theory when each has such a specific role as Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. How they can, I'm just wondering how they can say this is all impersonal when it's so personal.
Well, everything has both person and impersonal in it. Just like you're a person, but you have your energies. Your energies are your activities, your qualities. So if you focus on one, it's personal, and you focus on another, it's less personal, or we call it impersonal. So Krishna is both personal and impersonal. All of the manifestations are personal and impersonal. But Sankarshan, not Sankarshan, but Sankaracharya was trying to preach the position of monism as being superior to personalism. Although he acknowledged the personal, he wanted to show that impersonal is the source and personal is the manifestation of the source. But it's the other way around. Personal is the source. Everything comes from a person, just like you're the person, and whatever you do, whatever qualities you have, are extensions of you. It's not that your activities and your qualities are the source of you. So he just emphasizes the impersonal, because everything has both personal and impersonal characteristics. So he's
Yes,
just
Guru Maharaj.
emphasizing one side of it, which is trying to make the impersonal as the source of the personal, which is incorrect.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. That makes it very clear. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maharaj. Shiva Kumar Prabhu, is your next. Unmute yourself.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances at your lotus feet. Maharaj, I had this question for long, Maharaj, that you concluded your session today. That how is that in the context of Jiva, all the Jivas are eternally individual souls. At the same time, we understand that the Jiva Tattva itself is an expansion from the Lord. So I just wanted to hear from you, Maharaj, when you said you think about it. I just wanted to take some help, Maharaj, as to how we should go thinking about it. Seems very difficult to kind of.
Well, the absolute truth contains both finite and infinite person qualities. So the finite qualities of the absolute truth, because the absolute truth it cannot be considered complete unless it has finite and infinite person qualities. So the living entities are the finite. That means we're emanations of the source, but in a tiny fraction of that emanation. The analogy is like sparks to a fire. Sparks are also the fire, but they're not the fire. But they have fiery qualities. That's why they're called sparks. They're just tiny forms of fire, that's all. The fire can burn, the spark can also burn, but the spark doesn't have the same burning power as the fire. So in the same way, the living entities are also pure spiritual energy and non-different than Krishna, ultimately, but not the source, and not in terms of quantity. Krishna is the source, and everything is the emanation from him. So the living entities are parts and parcels of him, but not of the same quantity. That's all. And that is called the finite aspect of the Supreme Lord. You can find that in the in the next chapter of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And if you go to that next chapter, you can find it there. If you want to find out more, you want to bring that verse up? It's the next chapter, chapter 7. No, I'm sorry, not chapter 7. Yeah, chapter 7 of Adi Lila, verse 116, 116.
Okay. Go back.
And that really gives the identity of the living entities.
Chapter 6.
7.
7. Okay.
116. Go to 116. Okay, 116. Okay. The Lord is like great blazing fire, and the living entities are like small sparks of that fire. Although sparks and a big fire are both fire, the burning power of the fire and the sparks are not the same. One should try to artificially become like the big fire, although by constitution, he is like a spark. Then if you go down the page to the next paragraph, some may argue, why is there a need to create spiritual sparks? The answer can be given in this way: since the absolute personality of Godhead is all-powerful, he has unlimited and limited potencies. This is the meaning of all-powerful. To be all powerful, he must have not only unlimited potencies, but limited potencies also. So the living entities are the limited potencies, although they're of the same nature as the Absolute. Thus, to exhibit his omnipotency, he displays both. The living entities are endowed with limited potency, although they are part of the Lord. The Lord displays the spiritual world by his unlimited potencies, whereas by his limited potencies, the material world is displayed. And then this is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. And thank you, Prabhu, for asking that question. There's more, we had more light shed now in the situation about.
Is that clear, Shiva?
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Yes, Maharaj. Getting the answer, but it's little above the head, Maharaj. Maybe I will have to listen a few times and read this also to kind of digest the answer, but I'm getting a glimpse of it, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you may not understand, but you can at least get the explanation.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Maharaj, and just one follow-up question, Maharaj. The Jiva Tattva is understood to be part of this marginal potency. So even in the spiritual world, is that understood as still marginal potency, Maharaj, even within the spiritual realm?
No. Marginal means in the material world. Marginal means you can go either spiritual or material.
Okay.
Marginal means, of course, it's called, marginal potency means either material or spiritual. We can lean towards the material or we can go back to our identity as a spiritual. But in the material world, which is a realm of the material, where the living entity gets caught up in the material and forgets its real identity and identifies with a false sense of identity, and that is called marginal or Maya, illusion.
Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Thank you so much.
We don't belong in this material world, but here we are. Hare Krishna.
Any other questions?
That's why you can't be because you can't be happy here and you can't live eternally here, because you have accepted something that is untrue, a truth, and therefore you're trying to make it happen, which is not possible, like putting a square peg in a round hole. You can't do it. Or a round peg in a square hole. Trying to be happy here means impossible, because the only way we can be happy is when we actually identify and act according to our nature. If a man wants to become a woman and he dresses up as a woman and acts like a woman, everyone will laugh, and he will never be able to find happiness as a woman because it's not his identity. That's an example.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Well, it says Bhakta V. I don't know. Please unmute yourself. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. I wanted to ask Maharaj if you could help me understand what's the role of, how does Srimati Radharani fit into the expansions and the energies, and where she, her kind of expansion, or
what's her identity?
No, how she fits into the, expansions that you mentioned about Krishna's expansions. Does she?
She's done different than Krishna.
Okay.
But she manifests herself as the pleasure potency of Krishna, which gives pleasure to all living entities through the realm of bhakti. Krishna has three, it's called Samvit, Ladini, and Sandini. These are three of his categories of qualities. Samvit is his energy by which he knows everything. Sandini is his energy by which he maintains everything. And Ladini is the internal spiritual potency by which all pleasure manifestations emanate. So she is the original source of all pleasure manifestations. Therefore, she expands herself into the queens of Dwarka, the gopis of Vrindavan, the Lakshmis of Vaikuntha. And she represents pleasure, transcendental pleasure, not material pleasure. She actually is an expansion of Krishna's heart. And in one sense, she's non-different than Krishna, but at the same time different for the sake of pastimes. So that's not so easy to understand. If you want to understand more, read the 4th chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila. There's a nice description of the position of the internal energy and Srimati Radharani. Adi Lila, chapter 4. That chapter will give you a lot of transcendental knowledge about Radharani. But she's not different than Krishna. Just like it says, the absolute truth is one, but for the sake of loving a relationship, they expand into two. The same two have become one again in Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is Radha and Krishna in one. So he's Krishna with her mood. These are all very technical spiritual principles. It's nice to know them. For me, they're all in there in Prabhupada's books. Just read the books. If we're trying to become devotees, we should know as much as we could about the whole process of bhakti, and especially about Krishna. Make a study of trying to learn as much as you can about Krishna through Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and other books. It's a lifetime worth of study. It's actually millions of lifetimes worth of study. But it'll bring your consciousness to the spiritual realm. Otherwise, we'll have to take up study of this material world and hear about all of the problems that the political, social, and economic reformers are throwing at us every day in the form of this material existence. If we don't focus on Krishna, then we'll focus on that.
Hare Krishna.
And that will just lead you to confusion because there's no solution there.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Any questions? Any other questions? If not, there's one in the chat that I can read.
We got Bhakta John. He's gonna.
Yeah.
John is raising his hand there.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Go ahead. Actually, go ahead. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Maharaj, is there a certain point in our bhakti when our spiritual identity is revealed to us scientifically?
Yeah, there is. We talked about that during the retreat, different stages, the 9 stages of bhakti, as explained by Srila Rupa Goswami, who is the spiritual scientist. He's learned the knowledge of bhakti from Lord Chaitanya, and he's written in books. And he describes 9 stages. Adasrata, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, Nishta, Ruchi, Ashakti, Bhava, and Prema. So on the stages of, I'll mention, what is it? The first one is Adasrata. Strata means faith. By some faith, you decide to take inquiry into spiritual life. So the inquiry leads you to the association of devotees. So that is called sadhu sangha, which is the second stage. There you practice Krishna consciousness accordingly. You develop a taste for it, you start to go deeper into it, and then you say, I'd like to make this my life's understanding. So then Krishna sends you the spiritual master. And then that is called bhajana kriya. And then you take initiation from the spiritual master, and then you work under his guidance, and he helps you to move forward through the different blockages which are there due to our association with the material energy. Those blocks are our attachments to material world and the characteristics that we develop due to those attachments. As we develop and start removing these blocks, then we come to the next stage, which is called nishta. Nishta means fixed. That one becomes situated nicely in devotional service, and one will not be deterred by any situation. In other words, they have gained enough knowledge and experience and have removed a lot of the blocks where now the devotional service becomes consistent. But still, there are still anarthas left. Then we can move to the next stage, which is called ruchi. Ruchi means sweet taste, where one becomes happy all the time in the execution of devotional service. That's ruchi. On that stage, we're starting to enter into the realm of understanding our identity in the spiritual world with the help of the spiritual master and with the guidance of the process of what is called raganuga, bhakti, spontaneous devotional service. We start to move forward and execute devotional service in a specific way. That was the essence of the teachings we had at the retreat. Raghunath Das Goswami was teaching us through those verses, focus your consciousness on Radha and Krishna, on the cows, on the realm of Vrindavan, on the Maha Mantra, on the Guru Mantra, on Rupa Goswami, on Sanatan Goswami, on the eternal residence of Vrindavan. So he's taking us into that realm where we can start to awaken that natural identity which is hidden due to our association with the material energy and starts to become revealed. And with the help of the spiritual master, one can start to clearly understand one's identity, and then one will work accordingly, and that gets a little complicated from here. So, but ultimately, that's the process. So it's all based on chanting Hare Krishna. If you stay fixed in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and develop that, you'll move along the process nicely, avoiding the offenses.
Thank you, Maharaj. That really helps to add clarity. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Prabhupada also mentions these 9 stages in some of his lectures and gives some explanation of the qualities of each stage, not qualities, but characteristics of each stage.
Okay.
Bhaktivinoda Thakur also in his books speaks about these different stages. So knowing where you are in the 9 stages helps you to understand how to practice on that level and to also aspire for the next level. If you don't know where you are, then you don't know where you're going.
That makes sense, Maharaj.
If you go, then wherever you go, it's okay because you don't know where you're going anyway. It's like, so that's called mindless. We don't really want to. Well, it's the devotees fall into that because they don't understand the science, and therefore they just go about doing their activities, not knowing what is the result, how to perfect the activities, what to avoid, And these are all part of going from one stage to another.
Right.
But it becomes natural. Just like you watch a person doing jugglery, and he's got like 6 balls he's throwing up in the air and catching them all. He's only got 2 arms. But for him, it's easy because he's been practicing it. But you watch it and you think, I can't do that. That's impossible. But for him, it's natural. So as you get situated in devotional service, all of these things become natural. I think you know what I mean based on your experience in life.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you practice something, it becomes part of you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Very much, Maharaj. Thank you.
Yeah.
John, I think you were the one that put a question in the chat. You want to ask it since you can talk, actually?
Yeah, that's okay. Yes, please. It may be slightly basic, but I was just wondering if we're flat earthers as devotees. Is the earth flat?
There's still a controversy going on.
Right.
Ancient pictures of Varaha lifting the earth and it's flat. But I was just reading the other day that Prabhupada was talking about the earths are actually globes or spheres. So the Bhagavatam talks about spheres, I think, in the 5th canto. You have to read it. But the way the wording is, it takes a lot of study and a lot of cross-references from different, what we say, experts who have studied it to really understand. But basically, we take Srila Prabhupada's instructions that the earth is a globe. But others will argue against that. And also give information to show contrary. So that's why when Prabhupada wrote the 5th canto, even devotees can't understand. Even though Prabhupada explained it, still, because it's all beyond the range of the senses. So it's also coming only from the understanding of the pure devotee based on his knowledge of Scripture.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, I was just involved in a little controversy when I was in Mayapur about that whole thing.
Oh, okay.
They're still trying to figure out how to design the Vedic planetarium. But Prabhupada gave the formula and the design, but then people are bringing in things from other sources. Now there seems to be some uncertainty about how to design it.
Okay.
So that one, I can only leave you that far.
That's okay. Thank you, Maharaj. So it's still somewhat disputed amongst the community. It's still.
Oh yeah, that's one of the biggest disputes.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay.
Well, that's quite concerning to me. But anyway, what to do? Any other questions?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisance of Shri Prabhupada.
Where are you?
Maharaj, I apologize for joining late. I just got off the altar, but I was able to catch a point, Maharaj, that you mentioned about the 9 stages of devotional service, and I think you were saying that it's like a way that we know where we're going. Like you said, if we don't know where we are, then we don't know where we're going. I just like how you put that. It's like perfect. It's like perfect, Maharaj. So Maharaj, if we don't know where we are on that 9 stages, which means we don't know where we're going, then I'm assuming that we should seek for help. But
Right.
if we think that we are at a certain level, how do we genuinely know individually or personally that we are at that level? What if it's the mind that's telling us, no, you're at this 8th stage when you're not at the 8th stage? You know what I mean, Maharaj? Like,
Yeah.
how can we genuinely know that we're at that stage? What's the like the cross and check reference thingy?
Characteristics. Each stage has a certain characteristics to it. Understanding the characteristics and then reflecting on your own, what you're exhibiting at a certain time, and then you can understand. For instance, if you're not initiated, then you're still aspiring for bhajana kriya. That means you're moving from sadhu sangha into bhajana kriya. So then if you get initiated, okay, then you made it to the stage of bhajana kriya, and then you're under the guidance of the spiritual master. Then you work along to his guidance. The difference between executing devotional service uninitiated and initiated is there's greater mercy is available when you're initiated, because the mercy of the spiritual master comes in. It makes your efforts more, what we say, what's the word? Creditable. You get more out of what you do. And so, all right, so those are then most of us are on the stage of anartha-nivritti. We're struggling with things that are blocking our path in devotional service. And then we have to understand what are those anarthas and how to overcome them. With the help of the spiritual master and the association of devotees and the execution of the activities of bhakti, we start, moving forward, and when we say destroying or removing these anarthas. So those anarthas are there. They block your path. And there's 4 categories of anarthas, and there's 4 categories in each category. So there's 16 major anarthas. So that's a whole seminar, which we've given so many times. When we give the seminar, Demons of Vrindavan, we talk about the different demons and which anarthas they represent. Yeah.
So, Maharaj, are you saying that the demons of Vrindavan are actually represented in those 16 areas of the anarthas, Maharaj?
Most of them, yeah.
Wow.
You could, if you read Bhaktivinoda Shikshamrita, he, in a later part of that book, he talks about the demons and the anarthas, and it connects it like that. For instance, Putana represents the false guru, or the lexicana guru, the guru who is giving you something other than Krishna. Yeah. And that's one of the anarthas. Bakasura represents pride. What was it? There's a whole listing, then I just have to read them. Keshi, Aristasura, Agasura, all of them represent the different anarthas. Kaliya, Krishna dancing on the heads of Kaliya, represents envy, destroying envy. So Krishna kills these anarthas through the power of our bhakti. Dvārakā-catur-vyūhera represents carrying a big material load on her back. In other words, being very expert at so many material subject matters. It's called, Dvārakā-catur is an ass or a donkey. So those who carry big material, they have so much knowledge of the material world, they're like an ass carrying a big burden. So yeah,
Maharaj, and what is that book, Maharaj? You said Bhakti Vinod?
Shikshamrita.
Bhakti Vinod Shikshamrita. Okay. And Maharaj, is there? I think Dear Krishna has the same question that I have. Is there a recording much of the seminar of these demons of Vrindavan within the of the anarthas?
Yeah, I did it. I did the seminar at least 3 or 4 different times.
Okay, Srimati and Sridevi, I'm going to come to you guys for the recording. Thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah, Bhakti Vinod Thakur is the author. The book is called Shikshamrita.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah, and that's towards the end of the book. But there's also compilations which list the demons and the different anarthas. Just like Palambasura represents lust towards the opposite sex. The thing is, the idea is you can't destroy these anarthas by your own efforts. You need the help of the Lord or the Lord's representative, the spiritual master.
Hare Krishna. Any further questions? Final questions? What?
Hare Krishna, Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, just following on from what you just said about anarthas and we need the help from Guru and Krishna. Is it that the Guru can help even if it's like the disciple may not ask for the help, or even so maybe want the help or know that they need the help, but sometimes the Guru can just see that, okay, this disciple or this follower has pride, and the Guru may intentionally try and do it? Or is it that the Krishna may just act through the Guru? And
that's why it's good to take association.
Yeah.
If you take association with the spiritual master, then you can get those things removed directly. But the spiritual master, he's always concerned about the advancement of his disciples. So he prays to Krishna to help his disciples execute devotional service nicely, properly. And then the devotee may get the intelligence to understand how to overcome these anarthas. But the easiest way is to associate with devotees in the process of bhakti. And as ultimately the fast track is Harinam Sankirtan. Those who engage in Harinam Sankirtan regularly will destroy anarthas fast.
So chanting Harinam Sankirtan, association with devotees, especially the spiritual master.
Yeah. But even if you can't get the association for whatever reason, Harinam, here it is. Bhakti Vinod Thakur, after listing all of the anarthas, and he ends by saying, and Harinam Sankirtan quickly crushes the anarthas. That's his last statement.
Wow.
after describing all of the anarthas.
Okay. Thank you, Maharaj. One more thing on today's class. I don't know quite how to word the question, but it's kind of a curiosity that Krishna has his expansions, and in one sense, we, the jivas, are also his expansions, and Krishna doesn't take away our free will because he wants us to love him naturally, and love cannot be forced.
Exactly.
But in terms of the expansions, like Krishna's expansions, what's the level of independence? And I guess, like, for example, when he came as in the Ramayana, he came as the Catur-vyūhera came as Ram, Lakshman, Bharat, and Satrughna, and they all had such a loving relationship with each other. So that loving relationship between, in one sense, it's him with himself, because it's him with his expansions.
Well,
So-
that's true. That's true about anything. He's
Yeah.
loving himself because everything is him anyway. Think about that one. That's true about he's the source of everything. It says that in order to enjoy loving relations, he expands.
And do they then have the same, in terms of their free will, the free will of the expansions of Krishna, like Balaram's free will, because he is Krishna, but at the same time he's not Krishna.
Yeah, they have their free. You're asking whether they have free will?
Yeah, like they have. Yeah, I guess I am asking. Do they have?
Yeah, you see, you see in the Mahabharata where
at the end,
Balaram favored Duryodhana.
Yeah.
Krishna favored Bhima. Balaram wanted Subhadra to marry, what was it, Duryodhana?
Yes.
Yeah, and Krishna wanted her to marry Arjuna. And Krishna out-crafted Balaram. So they also disagree because they're individuals.
Yeah. So Krishna expands himself, and that expansion of Krishna is an expansion, and at the same time an individual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's you too. You're an expansion, and you're an individual. You're called Vibhanamsa. There is Swamsa and Vibhanamsa. Swamsa, the direct expansions. Vibhanamsa is the Jiva expansions.
Okay. Yeah, this makes real good sense. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Any final questions?
Maharaj, I have a question to piggyback on what Prabhu just said, Maharaj. And because if Krishna expanded himself to Balaram, and Balaram is his own individual, but it's Krishna, then why is it that Balaram was supporting Duryodhana if Balaram is Krishna, expanded from Krishna? Because he's a bad guy.
Yeah. Because Duryodhana came to Balaram to learn the art of fighting. So Balaram was his teacher. So as a teacher, he favored his student. Same with Shiva. When Shiva and Ravana came to Shiva for some power, and Shiva gave him power because he surrendered to Lord Shiva. And when there was a fight between Ravana and Ram, and Ravana was being defeated, Parvati said to Shiva, go, your disciples asking for help. Shiva said, yeah, that's nice, but I can't do it in this case.
Hare Krishna.
But then when Banasura surrendered to Shiva, and Shiva blessed him with so much power, and then when Krishna started fighting with Banasura and cutting off all his arms, Banasura called out for Shiva, and Shiva came and started fighting with Krishna. And then Krishna said to him, hey, why are you fighting with me? So Shiva was loyal to his student. So that's the understanding, that if someone comes to you and surrenders to you, there's a relationship that develops. And then added that loyalty to that relationship, sometimes you favor that person despite whatever the situation is. So you see the Balaram did that, Shiva, Lord Shiva also did that.
Maharaj, this is really interesting. It's yeah, Krishna, Lord Shiva was fighting with the Lord because he favored his disciple or his follower. And then on the other side, he says, yeah, I'm not gonna mess with this situation.
Yeah, so I asked that question. So somebody said he made a mistake. He actually, the first time he refused to fight against Ram, but the underlying theme is that Shiva is actually a disciple of Ram more than he is a disciple of Krishna. Brahma Bole Chaturmukhe Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Mahadev Panchamukhe Rama Rama Hare Hare. So that may be the indication there, although that's not mentioned in the Shastras.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Is it also possible on the same topic? Is it also possible that Shiva did not want to fight Ram? You said because he said, well, he's very much connected with Lord Ram also. But the knowledge that the Lord wanted to sport and Jai and Vijay had come for that reason. And so if Shiva jumps in, he's basically interfering with the Lord's plans because Jai and Vijay were coming as 3 demons and they were going to be killed by the Lord anyway. My mind is going that direction.
That's nice philosophical speculation. Very good.
I know I am speculating. That's why I asked it to see if it makes
philosophical speculation doesn't mean it's wrong. You might consider that may also be an indication there, but we can't really validate that. But we can say that's a possibility.
Okay.
So it's not wrong, but it's just not coming from any source right now that we know of.
That is true. That is true.
There's certain principles that are not mentioned in Shastras, but there are spiritual principles. Are spiritual ways of doing things that connect with a spiritual principle.
Any other questions?
And Kanchana still looks confused after my answer.
You want to say something about it? Oh, Kanchana.
Kanchana, come on.
Okay. You have to unmute yourself, but yeah.
You have to come on. You have to reveal your doubt here.
No, I think I think I do get it. I think what I was thinking about is this whole concept that some things are inconceivable, and maybe this is just for me. Maybe for me, this is a little inconceivable. And I was just thinking about how I think it's in the introduction to Chaitanya Charitamrita where Prabhupada writes about Radha Krishna being one, and we can't really figuratively work out the when they separated. That's inconceivable, like when they separated, and then they have a relationship with each other. And I was just contemplating that, and actually that
you'll never know how something is eternal, but at the same time manifests in a certain way.
Yeah. So that's what I was kind of drifting and thinking about, that there's some things that are we're not meant to understand. We can just get
what is our ability to understand?
Mine's very little.
Well, even great souls don't touch certain things because they know it's simply that's the way it is.
Yeah. And could we say, Maharaj, like things like Balaram and him going on a different side, or him having a different opinion to Krishna, even though he is Krishna? I mean, he is Krishna and as an expansion of Krishna, but then he disagrees in some aspects, that it's all about enhancing the pleasure of Krishna, or enhancing the glory of Krishna.
Sometimes, I mean, Krishna chastised Shiva for fighting with him at the end.
Yeah.
Krishna, Nrsingadev chastised Lord Brahma for giving these boons to Hiranyakashipu. Sometimes the devas, they also go. They're powerful, so they act independently also.
Okay.
You do that sometimes. You know what's right, but you do what you want. Prabhupada gives a very mundane example where a person who is very wealthy and he's used to eating very fine, what we say, nutritious, luxurious foods. Sometimes he just wants some puffed rice, that's all. Or he might be used to dressing in nice clothes, but once in a while he wants to put on a pair of jeans. That's his prerogative.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you. This is wonderful discussion. The lecture and the discussion, the entire thing. I have to hear it again easily.
Nice to know. The more we can know about Krishna, the more we can develop our attraction for Krishna. And coming to the conclusion that there is no one anywhere ever like Krishna. There's no comparison, no superior, no equal, nothing.
Right. Any final questions?
I have to agree with Kanchan Prabhu that the Lord is inconceivable, and there are some things that is over our heads, and some things is you know we can learn and understand. But like Maharaj said, it's one who is so inconceivable. I think even Krishna himself says that he doesn't know how great he is, or something like so. That shows that we just worship and love and surrender to the inconceivable Lord. Thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah, we focus on that aspect. Or the understanding is, if you could understand God, you'll be as good as God. But we're not as good as God, therefore we can never understand everything. There's a verse in the Bhagavad Gita that's really quite powerful. Turn to chapter 7, verse 26 in Gita. It's a very simple statement by the Supreme Lord, but when you read it, you understand it's very deep.
Chapter 7, verse 6.
26.
26. All right. I'm doing it from the background and
7:26. Yeah.
Okay, here it is.
Yeah, somebody read.
O Arjuna, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I know everything that has happened in the past, all that is happening in the present, and all things that are yet to come. I know all living entities, but me, no one knows. Right on point. Should I read purport, or this is good enough?
Selectively choose some place to read. Let's see.
Okay, maybe the first line.
Yeah, like the next paragraph. Unlike the ordinary human.
Unlike the ordinary human being, Lord Krishna clearly says that he completely knows what happened in the past, what is happening in the present, and what will happen in the future. In the 4th chapter, we've seen that Lord Krishna remembers instructing Vivaswan, the sun god, millions of years ago. Krishna knows every living entity because he is situated in every living being's heart as the super soul. Let's see where else. Okay, well, he's there. Brings the point.
Yeah, the point is that no one knows him because no one is equal to him or greater than him. Nityo nityanam chaitanas chaitananam eko bahunam vidadati kaman. No one is equal to him. No one's greater to him. No one can know. You can know as much about him as he allows you to know also. Because he says, I give knowledge. I also give forgetfulness. Or he's talking to Arjuna. He says, here, when in reference to Vivashan, I instructed the science of Vivashan to the sun god, and you were also there, Arjuna, and we are both eternal, but you have forgotten, I don't forget. Forgetfulness is one of the features of the conditioned souls. Mm-hmm. Even if we're reminded about something that's true, still, we can't understand it because we have no reference. All we can do is either accept it or say we don't know. So.
Okay. There is anyone else? There's a question by Rasabilistini Radha Mataji online now, so I can read it.
Yeah, go back to the gallery.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Rasabilistini. Hare Krishna Dev Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. When I was reading Pancha Samskara book by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, what's that Urdhva Pundra? I read it, but I didn't understand it clearly. Please explain. Urdhva Pundra.
These are markings on the body, I think. The different way people used to get initiations by, one of them is called burning the marks of the Lord into the body with a hot iron. They do that.
Mm.
So they would burn the chakra, the sign of the tilak, into the body. I think that's Urdhva Purna. I think it also refers to tilak also. That tilak that is impressionable, that is eternal.
Okay.
There's 5 features of initiation. We don't do all 5 because devotees couldn't do it. Have your body burnt by different insignias into your arms. I don't know if we'd have too many people take an initiation.
That's what's gonna happen. Yeah, I guess you ran away from that one.
That's in the Shastras. That's there.
Mm-hmm. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. Maharaj, here it is written like what is Uddhava Pundra is. It is effulgence. It is also known as Uddhava Gati, the path of advancement.
I can't understand what you're saying. It's too.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Am I audible?
Yeah, but not very loud.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, am I audible now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Maharaj, it is written in the book like it is effulgence. It is also known as Urdhava Gati, the path of advancement. After receiving tapa, the student voluntarily accepts a suitable amount of renunciation from worldly activities. This is the path of advancement. So can you please explain, Maharaj?
Yeah, there's 5 parts to an initiation. One is tapa, one is Urdhva Purna. These are 5 categories. You have to turn to the verses that they give an explanation of all of the 5 parts. They're mentioned in the Bhagavatam. Tapa is one of them. Pundra is another one. We don't follow these particular series. We use different names. That's all. Tapa means accepting austerities. So the 4 regulative principles. Mantra is also there. Mantra, we give the mantra, the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, or second initiating Guru Mantra, which is Gayatri Mantra. So initiation has 5 points to it. But we don't do all 5. One of them is burning the symbols into the body. Different symbols of Vishnu being burnt into one's arms like that. That's one of them. Tapa, mantra, like that. So it's all about initiation.
Okay, Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Read more about it. You can get more detailed explanation. That's as much as I can recall at this point.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj. And Sri Devi Mataji has put some links. This is for everybody. If you want to copy it, some of the answers you can get for some of the parts of the seminar given, or the retreat given by Maharaj. Just put it, the YouTube links are there, so you can copy it, and I'll leave it on even for a while. So you can copy it before you go. So you can then hear it yourself.
Okay.
Thank you, Sri Devi. Okay.
I think I'm running out of time.
Okay.
From my side. So we've been on for an hour and 35 minutes already.
Yeah. Okay, then we can end, Maharaj, then?
I'd love to continue with the discussion, but I have some things I have to take care of right away.
All right, then. Thank you, Maharaj, for coming on. This is so always we learn so much when you give lectures. And thank you to everybody for coming on and listening so attentively and asking very wonderful questions to enlighten everybody with the answers.
Yeah, we had up to 39 people on the call.
Yeah.
Now it's 31, but at one point it was 39.
Wonderful. Thank you again, everybody. Vanchakapatarubhasya kripa sindhubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj.
Thank you,
Hare
Maharaj.
Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much for enlightening us.
Please copy the links. I'm going to deliberately leave it on for another 30 seconds before I close, just so you can copy the links if you want to. The Maharaj will be going.
Okay. We'll see you all tomorrow for Srimad Bhagavatam, back to the series on Bhagavatam.
Thank you very much, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare.
And if you're on Guru Maharaj's WhatsApp, you will also hear the recordings for those of you who can't get to it at the time he's preaching. It's all there for us. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All right, so hopefully everybody's copied that wanted to copy. If you go on YouTube, then of course, when you hear one, the YouTube algorithm will bring the others up too. So that's also another advantage there. Hare Krishna. Jai. Have a wonderful